In this class, we will see a very important feature that is fundamental not just for KUKA robots, but for any robot you get to work with, every machine, every PLC or drive. It is a practice and feature that is applicable to all technology applied in the industry. I'm talking about the logs that we use to analyze and understand failures of the robot, which is the messages window. Here in KUKA, we have a message systems that shows us four different message categories and a counter of messages for each type of message. The first category we have are the acknowledgement messages. One example of an acknowledgement message is an emergency stop of the robot. This means that an acknowledgement message can lead a stop of a robot, or an event that generates such messages could interrupt the program until, for example, the failure is fixed or the message is properly acknowledged. The second category we have are status messages that informs us about the current control unit status. For example, robot running, robot stop, emergency stop, all those types of events that are logged here, and those messages can only be acknowledges when the failure or the event is no longer present. So if my robot went to emergency stop, we will see an emergency message that is basically the status of the robot that cannot be erased until this condition is changed and we have a next message. Okay, the next one are notification messages, which are related to the systems and the users. So if I was logged in as an administrator and change to operator, for example, this will be registered here in the notification messages. The last one are the wait messages, and basically they indicate what the command unit event is keeping as a value, for example, a signal status. But those types of messages can also be interrupted manually if you press the simulation button. So when the robot is in simulation, it goes out. Okay, so basically, when we have an active message, we can see it on the top bar here. So here in this bar, we will see uh, so it is showing me in this case that the logged in user changed from administrator to operator. And it also shows us, if you can see, the time and date of this message, when this message happens. And if I click in this window here, I can see all current messages. And if I click again, it goes back from where I was. Um, an interesting thing, if I click OK, I can only acknowledge this message, but clicking OK all, I can acknowledge all the messages that can be acknowledged. So we have also some interesting tips, and those are good practices from KUKA themselves. They incentive those practices. And this knowledge is that basically every time that you will start working with the robot, you check all the messages. So you need to check all the messages that the robot has and understand what happened to the robot before you put your hands on it and before you start operating with the robot. And not only when you start working with the robot, but in general, if you see a message happening for a production interruption or something like that, you shall investigate the messages. And what can happen is a chain event when, for example, one message or one event can cause another event that will generate different messages. This happens when we have two subsystems, for example, and they're interlocked. So when one subsystem stops, the other needs to stop also. So one thing leads to another, and then you see you have 300 different messages, and you need to properly understand that sequence of events to see what happened to the robot before you start operating and or uh, normalize the situation. And those messages we can also generate in our program. So KUKA allows us to create messages from the problem that are related to the process or related to the robot or related to a subsystem. So we can, in the KUKA robot language create different messages and instantiate messages to appear for the robot operator during program execution. So this is a very nice feature. If I change here from operator to administration, let me show you again. The default password is always KUKA, guys. Okay, so that's a tip you can save. Okay. So I changed, and now I have here a notification messenger, of course, showing that I changed from operator to administrator, and this can be acknowledged. I can check also if you have different messages. I don't have in this case. I just click OK, and this message is gone. From my point of view, in my opinion, KUKA has the best message system in the market in terms of robots. ABB also has a great message system. Fanuc also has a great message systems, but KUKA is one of the best, and in my opinion, the best message systems that has features like discounters that no one other has. So that was it, guys. Remember, always check your messages. How the robot will